Hey everyone, this is Forkmanus again. I wanted to do this next video on upgrading my bikes and the role that parts play on that. So to start with, I've been playing for a while now, and I've got my Armadillo and my Tango fully upgraded, and I'm working on getting the rest of the bikes upgraded. You can kind of see I'm doing okay, and the higher level the bike is, the less upgrades I have, and I actually don't even have my last 2 or 3 bikes, depending on how you count the whichever one that is that you get from Butch's bike. But so you know, my long-term goal for the game is basically to get every bike fully upgraded and unlocked so that I can be as competitive as possible in the player versus player. Ultimately, I'd like to get onto the Legends board on that, and I feel like to get there, I will need to upgrade all my bikes. So I'm looking for the optimal path to do that. I target, in a given day, I try to do 1 upgrade a day. And I'm at a point now where the upgrades are getting pretty expensive and requiring some pretty high-level parts. Most of my upgrades now are over 100,000 if you have all the parts, and then getting the parts has become actually a bit challenging because the higher level the part is, the more effort it takes to get it. You know, I guess you're probably, if you've been playing the game for a while, all familiar with the crafting and fusing that you can do. So I mean, if you think about it, each part, each level up on the level of parts is exponentially more expensive than the one before it. So a level 1 part, very easy to get, just spin the loot wheel. To get a level 2 takes 3 level 1 parts, level 3 takes 9 level 1 parts to fuse, and then that goes from 9 to 27, and 27 to, let's see, that would be 60, plus 21, that would be 81, right? So to get a level 5 part, I mean 81, if you just were able to grind through the maps, playing the maps where you only get level 1 parts, which would cost 5 fuel, then 5 times 81, that would be 405 points of fuel if you could spin the wheel perfect every time. So if you think about that in terms of effort, I mean that's I've got a 49 capacity fuel tank. I mean, that would take 8 full tanks or a little more to get a level 5 part. So, you know, in the early game at the lower levels, when you have lower level bikes and you only need level 1 and 2 parts for the upgrades, I mean, that's a piece of cake. But when you start getting to where you need, right now I happen to need a lot of level 4 parts, and that just takes a lot of time. So my main method that I do is I will pretty much spend the gas that I have in my tank for playing levels, specifically for the parts on the loot wheel. Like that's how I pick the maps that I'm going to play. For me right now, I seem to end up playing a lot. You get familiar with the maps. You look, if you click on the map, you can see the prizes available. Sunshine District is one I play a lot because the nut seems to be a very common part needed for almost all of the upgrades. And what I like about this map is 3 of the 4 items on the loot wheel are a nut. And so basically, if you're not consistent in getting what you want when you spin the wheel, at least hear most of your misses. Like I always shoot, of course, for the level 3 nut, but generally your misses are going to just be lower level nuts. So if you grind through this map to get a nut, you have you know, most of your spins of the loot wheel are going to end up with 1 level or another of the nut, and that adds up pretty quick. Additionally, oh, sorry, not Trash Tops. Actually, I take that back. Trash Tops is also a nice one. What I like about this map is you actually have 2 level 3 items on the prize wheel, and if you expand the smaller one, which I think was maybe the gear, I can't remember, if you expand that, the size of it and the size of the bearing adds up to almost 50% of the wheel. So you have a really good high chance of getting a level 3 part out of that. The other one that I play a lot is Troll Lair, and I play it for the same reason as I play the Sunshine District, because here you've got the bolt, you've got 3 of them on the wheel, and that is a part that you very commonly need for upgrades. So yeah, generally I try to spend my gas grinding through for parts, but that doesn't always happen, and there have been instances where I need to pay money for a part or get it some other way. So let's take a look. We'll see. And so yeah, actually it's the player versus player, and the chip shop has really impacted the way that I view that. You can look in the right now for the daily specials. You can get 5 gems for 2,000 chips, and you can get 10,000 gold for 2,000 chips. Occasionally, it doesn't show up all the time, but you'll see actually a 20,000 gold pack, and they give you a little bit of a discount. Instead of costing 4,000 chips, it only costs 37.50, which basically means that for every chip spent, you get 5.333 repeating pieces of gold per chip. Now, the cool thing about this is because we now have a common currency, the chips, to purchase either diamonds or gold, then you can compare and see, what it costs per part. And additionally, if you look at the crafting items, so we'll look at the bolt, or for pretty much all of the crafting items, it's 2,500 for a level 3 part. So it gives us a couple of ways to compare. So for the 2,500 chips it would take to buy the part, you could, at the best rate, you could buy 13,333 gold, or you could buy 6.25 diamonds, right? So keeping those ratios in mind, let's go back to the bike repair shop, and for the Bronco I'm looking at the frame upgrade. I have a level 3 part, which I have enough parts to fuse for it, but I wanted to save it and show the impact on the price. And then I've also got I need level 4 blueprints. So the level 4 blueprints I can purchase with diamonds, right? And so thinking back to the fact that 2,500 chips only buys 6.25 diamonds, you would need roughly a little bit under 5 times that to have enough diamonds to buy the blueprints that way, right? So 5 times 2,500, what is that? 12,500 chips. I mean, that's a lot of chips, right? So that, to me, seems like kind of a cruddy way to go. Particularly when you look at the impact, like if you spent that much on gold, you would have almost enough gold to pay for the whole upgrade, right, at the current price. So sometimes it may actually be cheaper to just go ahead and buy the gold instead of buy the part, and you can do the math on that. So let's say I didn't have the items to fuse this bolt, I could actually buy that part for 2,500 chips, or I could buy gold, 2,500 chips worth of gold, which would be 13,000 gold, right? So let me go ahead and fuse these, and we'll see from 151,000 what the price changes to. So it drops to 142,000, right? So I only got a $9,000 drop, right? So if I spent that 2,500 on the part directly, I would have basically reduced the price by 9,000. So instead of doing that, if I got $2,500 or 2,500 chips worth of gold, and I got the 13,000 gold, I actually come out 4,000 chips ahead. So that's a thing. That's one way to look at it, as far as determining how to spend your resources. And it's kind of a non-obvious thing, maybe, that you might be better off just buying gold instead of buying the parts. And that was really kind of the main point I wanted to get to in this video, is how to look at the currencies and compare them and figure out, because there's different ways to go to get the resources you need. And of course, I mean, you could, I haven't spent cash directly in the game except for one time I did because I wanted to support the developers. But in general, I don't spend money on the packs of gems and gold. But I mean, you could do the math too on, it's $5 for 200 gems, or if you want to spend more money. You can look at how many dollars per gem, and so for 30 gems to get a part, are you getting the best bang for your buck there? Or, look at the gold and look at how much cash you would pay for the gold, and then, keeping in mind that you may be better off to just forget the parts and just spend the extra gold, So just kind of be aware of that math and make sure you're always getting the best bargain for your parts. Alright, thanks for watching the video. Please give me comments. I'd love to get some subscriptions, and let me know what kind of videos you'd like to look for in the future. I have several in mind, but I would definitely like feedback, so let me know what kind of stuff you want to see.